Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, and all of you potential Toastmasters out there. Welcome to the show. This is Wake Up with Toastmasters, and I am your District 115 Club Growth Director, Ken Richardson. With me today, I have two lovely ladies. My co-host, of course, is Phyllis Trivy, Distinguished Toastmaster and past District Governor. Good morning, Phyllis.
Good morning, Ken, and good morning to our public out there. We're happy to be with you this morning.
You want to introduce our guest?
Yes, of course, because we are looking for fun ideas for your meetings. And we immediately thought of our distinguished Toastmaster, Dianne Hunter. She's always fun to have at a meeting.
Go ahead,
Dianne.
Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, Ken. It's a pleasure to be with you.
I want to tell the audience that they can probably see that Ken is busy with our Facebook page. But if you have a fun idea for your meeting, any way to take it out of the regular to make it more fun and a little challenging, we'd love to have your comments on Facebook. So please step right in. Dianne, you want to remind us what clubs you are with and why you joined Toastmasters?
Thank you. Yes, I would love to. I went to a self-improvement seminar and realized that in order to be a better me, I needed to do the things that I didn't want to do, which included public speaking. So I had attended a club, High Noon Lectern, with a friend, and they were so warm and welcoming, and I felt so comfortable with them that I immediately thought of High Noon Lectern as a place to go and join and learn to be a better speaker. And that was my first club. Through the years, and I've been a Toastmaster since 2004, through the years, I've been a member of several clubs, but currently I'm a member of Internationally Speaking, which meets every Friday at noon.
Oh.
Storytellers, which meets every Saturday at 10 a.m. to noon, and Jackpot Speakers, which meets every Sunday from 1 to 3. And it just so happens that this week I'm the Toastmaster for each one of those. I don't know how I did that.
Well, it certainly takes care of your whole weekend.
It does,
it's
yes.
A Toastmaster event. But internationally speaking, I've never heard of that. Are they local or is it in another country?
It's here. It used to be called Educationally Speaking.
Oh.
And because we started to get international members, it didn't seem right not to recognize them. And we wanted to put ourselves forward as being an international club. And truly we are. We have members from Canada, Ireland, England, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some others, but it truly is international. And so are my other two clubs, very much so. Storytellers is the largest club in District 115, and they have members from, we have members from Germany, Australia, as does Jackpot. It's amazing how Zoom has broadened our horizons. It's one of the good things to come out of the COVID pandemic. There are so few, but this is one of them. And I've learned that thinking about this Sunday, which is Father's Day, that not everybody celebrates Father's Day on the same day. Australia celebrates it the first Sunday of September. So in preparing to be Toastmaster and to make it fun and open and inclusive, I did research and I was helped by an Australian member that the different parts in the world celebrate Father's Day at different times in the year. And it was amazing.
But they are still celebrating, right?
Oh, yes.
There are many countries that celebrate.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yes. Great. So Ken, how is our Facebook page doing? We got any comments yet?
Well, we have a few good mornings, but I'm having some technical difficulties with our Facebook page. So let's get started talking about our main topic today, and I will continue to fiddle with it while the two of you regale us with your infinite amount of wisdom and experience on how do we make our meetings fun. Remember, our founder, Smedley, Dr. Smedley, said people learn best in times of enjoyment. So one of the things we want to focus on today and talk about, and that's why we have our expert, Dianne Hunter, is how do we make our meetings fun for our members? And that requires us to sort of think creatively and to not be so rigid in how we do meetings. So Dianne, I'm going to let you open the session or open this part of our meeting today. And you'll forgive me, I'm still going to be fooling with our Facebook page. Not sure what's going on there. But tell us how you make meetings fun. What are some ideas you can share with our audience?
Thank you, Ken. It is something that you have to think about if you are not naturally funny. I'm not naturally funny. And so planning is where you start. What do you want your meeting to accomplish? If you want fun, you usually can do that best inside a theme. If you look at my visual background, you see a beach with plastic shovels and the ocean, and that the visual of your background, virtual background, can set the stage for what you want to do. If you have a theme of summer vacations or beaches or family fun, that can be the first thing that you do. Set up your theme, set up a visual background to go with it. And then talk to the person who's going to be doing your table topics. Have those table topics dovetail with the theme. We had recently, one of the members from Japan was Toastmaster. And she wanted, because they're in their monsoon season, her theme was rainy days. And this is what I did for a background for rainy days. And it immediately puts you into the mood of rainy days. And it's such a simple thing. I go into Word, insert, clip art, and a column comes up on the right, and you type in, at least in my version, I typed in rainy days. And this is what came up, among others. So it's very easy to go ahead and put this into your virtual backgrounds. So you're starting visually. Chefs say that you eat with your eyes before you actually consume the food. And so presentation is important. And presentation is important in your meetings as well. And it can start with the visual, the virtual background. The next step, if you're the Toastmaster, could be to wear makeup or a costume for whatever it is you want to do. Now, I wouldn't wear a bathing suit for the beach, but you could wear something that was very loud, like polka dots or stripes or something that would put you in a summer mood. You are in the mood. You need to be in the mood in order to bring other people into the mood. And that's the fun part. You need to be energetic when you talk. You need to be happy. You need to like what you're doing. And so do what you like. If you have a subject that you particularly enjoy, bring that into the theme. The Toastmaster is the boss outside of the president. So those are a few of the ways that you can bring people into a fun mood before you even start the meeting.
I think that's so important, and that's great advice for all of our viewers today, because we do need to make sure that when we are providing a supportive environment for our members and within our clubs, that we do so to make it entertaining, to make learning fun, and to make it I think that also creates more of a bonding experience. Now, we talked a little bit about uh, uh, putting in virtual backgrounds and starting your meal with vision, with your visual appeal. How do you feel about the differences between in person? What would you do differently versus online?
Great question, because as we conquer COVID, which eventually we will, or we will learn to live with it, we will go back to meeting in person or a hybrid meeting. Some clubs are already doing that. None, the 3 clubs that I'm in are not, but I know some clubs are, and it's working out well for them. In order to make the experience a good one, you have to have a good setup. You have to know what you're doing technically. And it may take some hit and miss in order to do that, and some talking to people who know about the technology to set up the room for the hybrid situation.
Mhm.
There's nothing worse than not being able to hear the speaker and have that person crack a joke and everybody's laughing and you haven't heard it. So it's important to be aware, if you're in a hybrid meeting, that there's an audience that you need to prepare for that you don't see. And they are as important as the people that are in the room. That's the difficulty with hybrid meetings. But once that is done and everybody's on the same page, you just make sure that the audience that is there and the audience that is there virtually can see and understand what's going on. And then it's just like any other meeting. You just make sure that your table is perhaps decorated with something. Maybe you could have a a pail and shovel just for a visual to help people, put people in the mood. You could wear a costume, or you could wear a beach cover if you're at work, and a number of clubs are at work when they have their meetings. Just bring a beach cover and that would put people in the mood if you are the Toastmaster. It's simple things, just a suggestion. Like some of the great speakers say, you just need an adjective or an adverb here or there to really paint the picture and bring everybody into the scene. So it's not that different. You can still wear costumes if you want. You can still wear makeup. It's just that the people in the room are going to see it a little differently. They're going to be back a little farther from you, whereas the people on Zoom are going to see me much closer. They're not going to see the whole costume unless I'm standing. And that could be what you do too. You stand more, you're back a little bit more so that the costume can be seen. But all of that plays into either Zoom or in person or hybrid. And that's what we've been doing.
Well, we are a little bit, we are on Facebook. Seems to have gotten things worked out. And Nakiro is with us this morning. And I believe she's in your club. She says, good morning. Jennifer's here. She says, good morning.
Good morning.
And Carol from Lambda Linguists. I always have trouble saying that word, linguist, right? Yeah, I trip over my tongue every time. So Carol's here and she says, let me quote her here just a minute. She says, I find dealing with a difficult audience project is very fun for participants. Oh, okay, that sounds interesting. Also, that's good. Why are you not meeting? Encouraging people to use PowerPoint with photos in their speeches. First and third Mondays at 6 on Zoom. Carol, I'm so glad you got that plug in for Lambda Linguists. Very good. So there's another good point, encouraging people to use PowerPoint with photos in their speeches. I love that. That's a great idea. I think one of the things, so is I need to do a class on PowerPoint. You know, I love PowerPoint. I use it almost every day.
PowerPoint is much easier to use with Zoom than in person. You don't need any equipment like you would need in an in-person meeting.
Mm-hmm.
to use the pictures and the photos and all of the videos and whatever on Zoom. That's something that's really freed people's creativity. That's an excellent suggestion.
Absolutely. I think we all have learned so much. That's one of the things about Zoom. You know, we've learned how to use not only the visual meeting technology, which always makes me think of Dick Tracy. I don't know. I'm going to have a Dick Tracy meeting. But when I was younger, Dick Tracy was one of my favorite things in the comics. And he had the watch that was also like a video watch. It's sort of like an Apple Watch today. But when I think of Zoom, that always makes me think of Dick Tracy and how the technology then seems so far-fetched that, you know, we're not ever going to do that. Video phones? Nah, that's not going to work. And to wear one on your wrist?
And here we are.
And here we
We
are.
have them.
We don't have the flying cars that, you know, we were promised in the Jetsons, but we do have the video watch and the visual telephone, if you will, through our computers and Apple Watch and the Samsung Watch. So that's an instance where the technology that was fanciful in our childhood is now we take for granted every day. So we need to have I want to have a comic book themed meeting. So
And that's a super idea. Come as your favorite comic book character. And that would be something that you could do and everybody could participate.
yes, exactly. Or you could say, it was a Star Trek themed meeting.
That would be wild.
Yeah, so everybody
Your
needs
favorite alien.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, or come as, you know, Mr. Spock, and people come as Mr. Spock, and then you base the whole meeting around the Star Trek theme, and just think of the visuals you can get with that. And I mean, that would be fantastic. So my home club is still meeting online, so we can do something that'll almost a little easier with Zoom because of the virtual backgrounds and what have you.
And not just the virtual backgrounds. There are virtual filters. If you go to where your virtual backgrounds are, and below your picture, there are video filters, and you can put on a virtual filter.
Oh yeah.
And have it follow you all over. Now, this would be either my beach theme or to protect my eyes going outside in the rain. And there are any number of things that are there for you to use, and you move and it moves too. So it's kind of fun to do something like that. Mark Brown was giving a presentation to one of my clubs, and he talked about taking your speech from 1D, one-dimensional, to 3D. And first thing he talked about were 3D glasses. And Sherry Parker saw these and put them on. And several of the rest of us realized what she was doing, and we did too. And it just, can you imagine him talking about it and us looking at him with them on?
Well, notice I've got a TV set now, an old analog television set. You remember
Yes.
back in the days when you actually had to get up off the couch and go turn the channel?
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. So, oh yes, okay. Here's
We're going to have a class on that, Ken.
we are, and I want to share with you Carol's comments. She's talking about, I've heard, excuse me here, I'm trying to get this up. BrownieLocks.com, which is a website that you can go through to get a calendar of holidays. Today, and thank you for sharing this, Carol, today is National Cracker Jack Day.
Oh.
I did not know that, but I will share with you that Cracker Jacks was one of my favorite things when I was a kid, because you got that little toy inside.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that was just, what a bonus. You get this great caramel covered popcorn and peanuts, and then you get a toy. I mean,
Oh, I'm
Hey.
hungry.
Well,
There are
thanks for
other
sharing.
things you can do to make your meeting fun without costumes or doing anything special. One of them is a backwards meeting. Have you ever been to
Oh,
one?
yes, I have.
Yes.
We,
I find those extremely exhausting because you have to listen so carefully. The meeting starts with the president signing off, and then asking guests to comment on the meeting, and everything is backwards. So the evaluations are given first. So the evaluators give their evaluation, and they are actually in control of the speaker. Whatever they say, the speaker must do when it's time for the speaker to speak. And just going all the way backwards, it's a real exercise, and it keeps your attention, and it is so much fun because nobody does it perfectly.
you have to focus. You mentioned that it keeps your attention. You really have to focus because it's sort of a sophisticated, you have to understand how the normal meeting flows and then just put everything in reverse. And you're right, I love that. I have been to some backwards meetings where the evaluator gives an evaluation, and then the speaker has to sort of customize their
Speak.
talk to match what the evaluator said. So I love that. The other thing I really enjoy is an envelope meeting,
Yes.
where you walk in the door, you're handed an envelope, and you open it, and that's when you find out what your role is for that particular meeting. You don't know until that moment. So you have to be prepared for every role, including being a speaker.
And if you want to be nice, you don't do it to the speakers because the speakers have signed up ahead of time. But you can do it for everything else. And that, I think, is a little more difficult in Zoom. It was easy to just hand somebody an envelope when they walked in the door. It's a little more difficult on Zoom because you have to just give them a role. You can also, at the same time, though, give them suggestions for their role. Like if a person is a grammarian with the word of the day, you can give them a list of words to choose from if it's easier for them. There are ways to make it less traumatic and more fun that way. Recently, I was at a meeting where they had a devaluation contest. That's the first time I've ever heard of it.
Okay, tell us
And
about
it was
it.
like a regular evaluation contest. They had a speaker, a target speaker, a guest speaker. They went away for 5 minutes. They came back and they gave their devaluations, which was very much like a roast. And they in a nice way, they would make comments about the speaker and what he did, what he said, how he did things. And in the very beginning of it, when the Toastmaster was saying, "Can you see me and can you hear me?" some of the contestants said, "Unfortunately." It was really fun. It was fun to see what they would say. And there were clearly some people who were much better at it than others.
Another thing that I thought of that I haven't done it, but I thought would be fun is you have to summarize a famous speech and dress as that character. For example, let's say you were assigned Abraham Lincoln and you are doing a summary of the Gettysburg Address. You have to dress as Lincoln and do a 5 to 7 minute summary.
Oh, that sounds like great fun.
Isn't that great? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to work on that and see if I can't get it to try it out at one of our clubs, because my other club is Bon Appetit and we meet in person. We could do it online, but I'd like to try some of these in person. I know and I appreciate the hybrid nature of what we are now. And I love the fact, for example, we have a member in my Early Risers Club who lives in the Philippines. He's from the US, but he lives in the Philippines right now. His employer is here in the US, but has, I guess, a branch office there. So he attends our meeting very, very regular, not every one, but because it's 10 o'clock at night. And you know how that is, because in your club we now have members from all over the world. So I think the hybrid model is going to be here, and I think that's wonderful. But I think we have to maybe learn a little bit better on how to run hybrid meetings. I've been to some that were really good and some that were not so good. So that's one thing I think we need to think about. Well, we are
It
nearing.
takes a long time for setup, I can tell you that.
It
It
does.
doesn't always work the first time. And if they've only allowed like getting there 15 minutes early, that's the day when technology is not going to work well. But as I've told people, very hybrid, but it's probably going to take a couple years before we're really at ease with it and love it. It's
Well,
taking a while.
I think you're right, Phyllis, because part of the problem is it depends on your venue, where you are. If the internet is strong enough and stable enough to really run a hybrid meeting, and if not, then you got to bring a hotspot, and that's an additional layer of technology and some expense. Those hotspots aren't free. But I think as we progress and as more and more businesses, I think they're going to have to provide good Wi-Fi to attract, businesses or meetings or what have you. I was at a meeting last night and we had some problems with, it was a hybrid, and we had problems with the Wi-Fi. A couple of times it crashed. So that's always very frustrating. But I think as we progress, Zoom is becoming so ubiquitous and hybrid meetings are becoming the same, very ubiquitous. I think we're going to get better and better technology, and it's going to be simpler. Because you're right, Phyllis, if you're going to set it up right, you need to get there half hour early.
And some people will say
anyway,
even
we are
more.
nearing the end of. Yes, sometimes more if you have to debug. It's just like our show this morning. I wasn't sure, but I kept having problems with our Facebook posting. Couldn't control the volume, so I was getting, two sets of everything that you were saying was repeating on Facebook. I finally got it figured out. I must have hit the wrong button. It's probably user error most of the time. But we got it worked out, and I think everything came out really, really good. So we'll be able to post this on our Facebook page. So people who maybe don't like to get up at 6 will join us later. So we are nearing the end of our time at 6:28. So I want to leave some time for announcements and to wrap up. Dianne, what's your final message that you'd like to give to all of our viewers out there?
Don't be afraid to try something new. This is a safe environment to try something, even if it doesn't work. You've tried it, and that has gotten somebody else's wheels spinning to forward move fun.
I love that, because that fits right in with our mission. Our club mission is to provide a safe environment where people can explore and learn and develop their communication and leadership skills. Thank you so much, Dianne, for being with us today. Phyllis, you have a final message you'd like to share with us?
Just a big thank you to Dianne for coming forth. And like she said, in everything you do, give it a try. There's no sense of accepting no when you could try and maybe get a yes. So ask and go forward.
Yes, don't be afraid to fail. Exactly. So I love that. I do want to mention to our viewers that we have a TLI coming up this year. We are, as last year, we're offering both an in-person and then a later online, fully online. So our in-person TLI is going to be Saturday, June 25th. It'll be at the LDS Church, which is at 5160 Lone Mountain Road. If you need information or anything like that, you can send me an email. We're going to start at 8 o'clock. So register at 8, classes at 8:30. We'll have you out of there by 11:30. So So if you haven't had your officer training, this is your first opportunity for an in-person. Then on July the 9th, we will have an online TLI. Our goal is always, as part of the trio, is always to make these programs accessible to our members. So whether you prefer to meet in person or online, we got you covered. Then on July 16th, we will have our first district officer training for area directors, our new incoming area directors and division directors. That will also be online. So we've got lots coming up here in the not too distant future. If you have any questions about it, please send me an email, d115cgd@gmail.com. That'll be my email for district business for a couple more weeks, I think. And I think I just want to remind you that Wake Up with Toastmasters is on Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6:30 or thereabouts, give or take. And tomorrow you will have Jean Williams and her co-host, Jean Dunford. All right, my friends, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Diane, for sharing your expertise. As always, it's great. Let's see, Phyllis, you have something else?
One more thing, we are still looking for area directors.
Thank you.
It's never too late. You can do it again or do it for the first time. Email is right there for Ken, or call us, please. Volunteer to be an area director.
And I think the area director, it's so foundational. It's such an important district role for District 115. The area director is really and truly that foundation and link between the district administration and the clubs. And we need you to step up to leadership, and this is a good way to get started. You can contact me. Thank you, Phyllis, for reminding me. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Let's see. Great ideas from Jennifer Smith. So just ready to set off here. So you see, people do listen, even though it's early. All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.